What is up, everyone? So, I'm going to start a podcast, and that's what you're listening to right now. Because I figured, why the heck not? I'm bored, you're bored, let's do this thing. If you hear a big fan noise, it's probably my computer, since this webcam mic kind of sucks, but, oh well, it's neither here nor there, it's just, you're going to have to deal with it, okay? I want this to be a legit podcast, where more people are talking, and, I have a team of people that talk to, like co-hosts, but I'm all alone here, so it's just gonna be me. I don't know. I don't have a studio co-people to do that with, so you're just gonna hear me babbling on and on and on and on. But hey, if you like podcasts, then who knows? Maybe this is a place for you. If you like a guy talking to himself and to supposed future believers, listeners, then I guess this is the place for you. So just pull up a chair, sit down, relax, or go jogging, whatever is your thing to do. Put in those headphones and just listen. And, I don't know, or play games. That's what I always do when I'm listening to podcasts. I just sit down, play video games at my computer like a loser, and start listening to podcasts. So do whatever it is you do. Take your mind off of the things of this world and just listen and relax to the words coming out from my vocal cords and caressing your eardrums right now. And the big annoying computer right next to me, right here, that you can probably hear very clearly. And maybe soon my AC, because it's getting hot in here. Okay, so today I don't know what kind of a weird thing for my first podcast to do, because it's not very I don't want to say welcoming, but like a lot of you, it doesn't really apply to most of you, I'm sure, but I don't know, it depends who you are. But today I was wanting to talk as a Bible believing Christian. I want to talk to my fellow Christians out there. It's sort of a rant about the church, and so if you want to skip this episode, feel free to, but make sure you come back for next time, because it's not always going to be about church-related stuff. If you're a skeptic and you're here, then that's totally cool. You're so welcome here to chill and relax. Usually I'm going to have discussions relating to other things that might pique your interests more, but right now, this is just something that's on my mind that I feel like I want to get out there, something I want to talk about. That was my water bottle. It's noisy when it does that for some reason. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It just, something that's been bugging me, and I don't really have much else on my mind to talk about right now, so I'll just, other topics we'll just save for the future. Hopefully this audio file will save as big as it's going to be. I don't know how big it's going to be. We will see. So, yeah. If you want to stay and listen, you're more than welcome to, but you probably won't get a whole lot out of it unless you're a fellow believer who goes to church and stuff, unless you're someone I'm addressing. You do you. You can listen. You can feel free to. Maybe you can relate to my frustration. I don't know. There's a lot of people who have left the church, and who even aren't believers anymore because of how the church has been to them and bad experiences. And I'm certainly not saying that's everyone. I'm sure most people actually find the beliefs themselves or itself to be off or weird or just not believable. It doesn't hold a lot of water like my annoying popping bottle does right here. And that's totally fine. I totally understand that. We'll have future conversations that can dive more into that as I do more research and actually learn things and know what the heck I'm talking about. But until then, just hold tight, because right now, today, is just going to be a boring thing about church. So, again, you can skip it if you want to. Or you could, do whatever you want, but make sure that your perception of this podcast isn't just, oh, it's just for Christians, blah, blah, blah. This is boring. I'm not going to come back ever again. Because we're going to dive into more philosophical things. We're going to do better things than whatever this is gonna turn out to be. So just bear with me, hold tight. That's a long disclaimer. You get the idea already. I'm just gonna move on. So, to the rest of you, Bible-believing Christians such as myself who are churchgoers, let me be clear though, you don't have to be a churchgoer to be a Christian. Just like the saying goes, no more than being parked in a garage makes you a car. I don't even think I've ever parked a car in a garage, to be honest with you. But, it's, church, it's sort of become this thing, it's pretty much always been that thing, at least for the time I've been alive, and probably long beforehand, or it just seems like you go there, sing a few songs that is vaguely praising the Lord, and then you sit down for an hour and listen to a guy talk about his take on things and his opinion. And then you go home for the week. And you come back again, listen to his opinions again, and they have that dang worship team start playing music. I don't know why I said dang. I was talking about the instrument for a second, then I said worship team. I don't mean, like, the worship team isn't bad. It's like, why are you playing music like that as he's preaching? Are you trying to make it more emotional? Because all you're doing is it's distracting, man. Like, what are you doing? You're forcing something. I don't know what it is. Are you trying to make it seem more emotional, compassionate? It's just a bunch of chords on a thing, right? Like, that's all a guitar is. It's just strings on a piece of wood, and you can play different frequencies. And you're doing that about, like, getting ready for the next songs as the pastor's closing. What are they even doing? I have no idea. It's always weirded me out. It's like, just let them finish talking first, and then let's get to it. You know what I mean? Maybe they're practicing, or I don't know what they're doing, but whatever, that's a little thing aside. It has nothing to do with anything. So, what the heck was I talking about? I was gonna get to something. I don't remember what it was. Shut up, bottle. Seriously. Good. Great gravy. Worse than the 4th of Julyers that stay up way past 2 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm just gonna move on anyway. I'm sure it wasn't that important. If I even had something to talk about, I was just making a comment about the worship teams. Which I hope to be in one someday. It looks fun. Anyway, so I think I was saying I understand why you wouldn't want to. A lot of you don't go to church, even if you are Christians. It's understandable. For me, though, it's just an excuse to get out of the house. Aside from working, it's something to do. It's a social outing with fellow believers, sort of a refresher. Let's fellowship, learn and grow together. Mostly the fellowshipping is just a 5-minute window before the preaching starts, and a little bit after. But sometimes they'll have stuff going on that you could do during the week, or I don't know. It's just other than that, I like a real social life, so that's the main reason I go. But also, I guess, to learn and blah blah blah. Even though you can watch it online because a lot of churches live stream now. But anyway, neither here nor there. Those of you who do go to church, or those of you who don't go to church, you might understand my frustration. It's probably the reason you left, if you ever did go. But to those of you who do go, this is mostly addressing you guys. And I'm not on a pedestal. I'm not talking down to you. Maybe a little bit. No, I'm guilty of this too. I mostly want to talk about how just the atmosphere, the feeling of being welcome at church. I think it should be a place, like a homey place, where you feel welcome, like you belong. You should feel, especially if you're a Christian, you're a part of the body of Christ. Every church you go to that is, aligns with your beliefs, or just every church in general, really, should have it should feel like home. Like you could go to any church in the world and it feels like family. Like you've been going there for years. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I see it. Whenever I go to a new church, I just kind of shove my way in there. If I don't feel welcome, I force myself upon them. Like, you guys are supposed to be welcoming, so, I'm just going to pretend like you guys are doing that. I'm forcing my way in here. This is, I belong here just as much as you do. That's kind of how I felt driving on the road and just walking out in public. For the longest time, I've had anxiety where I felt like, this is a whole nother conversation, but I'm just going to, just a quick little thing. Where I felt like I was being judged by other people, or I was inconveniencing people. Like, just crossing the street, I dreaded when at an intersection, when a car is waiting on me. It's like, dude, you got wheels, you can go faster. Just go, and I'll walk after you get out. I don't want to hold you up, I don't want to feel pressure as I'm walking across the street. Or if you're a maniac, I don't want you to run me over. But that's just a minor fear. The real fear is just holding them up. That I don't like inconveniencing people, or at least I used to. Now I've shifted my way of thinking, and I almost enjoy it. I'm like, yeah, that's right, be inconvenient. It's just what I had to do to feel like I blend in more. That anxiety. I'm sure a lot of you have felt that, where you walk on the street. I just don't like. I want people to feel like I'm a good person. Like, I don't want first impressions, or when they see me from afar, I don't want them to think I'm something that I'm not, I guess was the thing I was dealing with. I don't want them to, especially older people, they have this a lot of them anyway, have this perception of my generation, or younger generations, just younger people, and what they do. And if I have anything that indicates that, maybe I'm one of them, and maybe I'm not a good person, respectful or whatever, and I don't want to give the wrong idea. But now the older I get, the more I just don't care. Like, I've grown accustomed to just not giving a crap. Like, I will just not, like, now when I'm crossing the street, I'm like, yeah, that's right, you're waiting on me, yeah, aren't you? Like, I don't actually say that, or, act that way, but in my head, to make myself feel better about the situation, I'm like, yeah, that's right, you're being inconvenienced. Or, yeah, I'm going the speed limit, and you feel like I'm in your way or something. Even I've noticed that when someone's tailgating me, while I'm driving the speed limit here, and I may be slowing down because I have a turn coming up, and they look impatient, or you can tell because they're closer than your car than they would normally be, that they want you out of their way so they can just get going. Even their car looks mad. Like, their headlights are in such a way it looks like the car itself is like, move out of my way. But even then, I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I swear I almost released my foot off the the gas a little bit, and just go slower, being like, oh, you're in a hurry? Oh, I'm so sorry. But then later on, when I'm late to work, I'm the one in a hurry, and yeah, I understand I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite there, but whatever. Anyway, like I was saying, that whole feeling of anxiety. What was I talking about? I went on a little tangent about cars and sidewalks. By the way, if you hear this, that's just my fingernail clippers I'm fidgeting with, because why not? So, what the heck was I on about? You're gonna get this a lot in this podcast, by the way. What in the world is Aaron? What was I going on about? That's my whole world. The older I get, what was I talking about? I guess just showing up to church. I'll just move on. I don't know. It probably wasn't important. Maybe it related somehow with feeling that anxiety, like you're in people's way or you're unwelcome. I don't know. But anyway, moving on. Back to the topic at hand, I guess. I noticed sometimes when you go to church, or when I go to church, I can't speak for you. I don't know what churches are in your area, but for me, when I go to church, and especially my mom when she goes to church, she doesn't really go to church that much, because I guess she has a social anxiety or something, but she also if she feels this worse than I do, but even I do feel this way to an extent, and it is definitely a problem, the whole reason this podcast episode exists, the feeling of unwelcomeness, like people like, people looked at her weird, like, who the heck are you? Why are you here? You know, I'm sure that's overthinking on her and my part, but at the same time, you know, you shouldn't feel that way. When you're entering a church, it should feel like home. It's a place of welcome, and we're glad you're here, and, you know, you're home. That's what it should feel like. It should never feel like you're intruding on someone else's territory, like you don't belong. And that's exactly what my mom feels like whenever she shows up to our church. And I can feel that way too when I go to a new church, or you know, I feel like I have to force myself on them in a way in order to just for that to become my home church. I feel like I'm intruding. I have to just shove my way into their faces in order for that to eventually lead way to becoming my home church and me being one of them. Like, I have to force my way in. And there's just a lot of like, that's what my mom was frustrated with, and which in turn frustrated me, is that the very rare occasion that she does show up, no one greets her. No one comes to shake her hand, and that maybe it's because she is a little bit anxious or is tired. Like, I guess her and other people like that, they look like they don't want to be talked to, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean they don't want to be. You know, just go greet them. You know, you shouldn't have to sit in the corner while everyone's greeting and just no one even talks to you or acknowledges your existence. That's frustrating. No one, it's like you have to go out and shake people's hand. It's like, no, I'm a visitor or a newcomer, or not, at the very least not acquainted with everyone yet. I should be greeted by them. And again, this goes back to, like, I'm just as guilty, because, I mean, although I guess I have more of an excuse, but whatever. I have Asperger's, so I can be a bit socially awkward. And so a lot of times I contemplate if I should even, should I go say hi to this person? And then I end up standing there like a creeper, just staring at him from afar and lingering without talking to anyone. It's really weird. But yeah, like, even I'm guilty of this, where I just don't say hi to people. I keep to myself. I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to feel like I'm inconveniencing them. I guess that was my original point, probably. I don't remember. The feeling of being in someone's way, of inconveniencing them. I'm just gonna go get my cup of coffee, and then, because our church is cool like that, they have coffee. That's right. And go sit down, maybe shake a few people's hand that are in my proximity, that are also up and about walking, that happen to go right by me, and they look like they want to be greeted, or they want to greet me. Yeah. And I just, you know, church needs to be a place of welcome. It needs to be it's just so frustrating to see where everyone keeps to themselves, or it's only to people in the know that you've known for years on end. That's been my frustration, like, my entire life, trying to make new friends, is because I just sit there on the sideline while they're chatting about memories, and they go way back, and I'm sitting there with nothing to add, nothing to talk about, because I'm still fairly new. Like, there's no memories yet. I'm just sitting there like an outcast, listening. And once in a while, being like, oh yeah, like, if is a rare topic that comes up that I can be a part of. That can be frustrating. You feel an outsider. You feel like you don't really belong. Like, there's not a whole lot of substance for you there. You go to a buffet and it's only pineapple pizza. You know what I mean? And who the heck wants that aside from the people who made it, I guess. I don't know. It just, you get my point. The church needs to be a place of welcome. It needs to be a place of, you feel at home. Like, as soon as you step foot into a church, it should be to the point where you feel like you've been going there for years. Like, you call it home just by walking through those front doors. like people look back at you like, oh, there's a person walking in, but they just express the bored/tired expression on their face. Just looks like, oh, what do you want? Why are you here? You know what I mean? Just no. It's just a place of a bunch of people that have been going there for years, and they're all tired, and they just. I don't know what it is. It's a place. It doesn't feel very welcoming anymore. I mean, I guess it kind of does to me, but again, like to people like my mom, like she just, no one ever greets her, no one says hi to her. That's something I'm going to be having a chat with them about, I hope, if I remember and I'm not too socially anxious to. Maybe just give a talk with them about it. Like, you guys need to be more welcoming. This is a church, for crying out loud. We need to be more inviting of people. Holy crap, it's been 20 minutes already. Dang. Guess this really is a podcast. Thought I wouldn't have as much to say, but whatever. I guess I can ramble on a bit. Not only that, but it's like, we've had, it seems like only once a month, maybe, my church is just now starting to go out and serve the community. Maybe. Like once a month, maybe. We give a Sunday, maybe, to go and do a project of, I guess at this point we're just serving like-minded believers. Just, oh, here, we'll help you with this thing. I don't know. We've only done one thing so far, but then another thing, it's like my mom needed a shed built, and they still haven't gotten to it. She needed that 3 months ago at this point, maybe longer. They're only just now starting to talk about it. I don't know, not to throw them under the bus, not to give them shade. I'm just saying, what's the deal, man? Church needs, I'm just saying, to the body of Christ in general, this isn't throwing shade at anyone, this isn't talking about anyone specific, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus here, like I said. I'm talking about the body of Christ as a whole, the church. We need to be a place of welcome. We need to just, do it. We need to get things done. We need to be welcoming and inviting. And, oh yeah, that's more to add to the conversation, is a lot of pastors Christians in general, they seem more concerned, some of them, with politics than they do actually loving people in Jesus' name. They're more concerned with offending liberals than actually loving people and serving them, being respectful, being their friend. There's this whole righteous anger these days. It seems like everyone's guilty of it, let's be honest, or thanks to the internet and stuff that's sort of aided in this, where we feel like, no, I'm sorry, but if you blah blah blah, then I don't want anything to do with you. I'm not associating myself with you, with the enemy. It's like you've been around them before, but now you're just done. You're at a breaking point. It seems like every comment online is like that now, where it's like, no, I'm done with you, blah blah blah. There is evil in this world, and it's you. And I don't want to associate myself with you, blah blah blah. I don't want to see your point of view because you're evil. You're with the enemy. Even if you ask questions, even if you're on the person's side, and you're just asking questions about, oh, why do we do, you're a toddler, being introduced to the world. So why do we do that? What's up with this? Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? You're just asking questions, so they think you're questioning their way, which I guess you are. That's what questioning means. But they think you're with the opposition. Well, how do you propose? Blah blah blah. They ask you questions in turn, they might feel offended, or they might be like, oh, you're losing your way, you're skeptical. No, I'm literally just asking you a question. I'm not with your opponents, dude. Half the time I'm on your side, or at least I'm trying to get more info to see what side I want to be on. That's me, anyway. When it comes to politics, I'm asking you questions on why. I shouldn't have to have a big disclaimer oh, please don't be offended, your mighty gracefulness, sir, but I'm just wondering why we do this and that and this and that, but because, oh, please don't get angry with me in your righteous anger. No, screw that. I'm asking you a question. Freaking deal with it. If you want to get offended by it, go ahead. I don't know why you would be. I'm asking you questions. You should feel honored that you get to explain your point of view to someone. who is not quite in the know yet. So get over yourself and just answer the freaking question. Just like I asked, I know a lot of people are not going to like this, but the 5 of you who will listen to this, some of you might not like it, I don't know. But like the other day where I made that video about the burden of proof, a lot of people online especially just think of Trump as being racist, and I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying, I was just asking them, how is Trump racist? And they think I'm a Trump supporter all of a sudden. They think what I'm saying is, he's a good president, I don't see what you see. And a lot of them, instead of just answering the freaking question, they just open your eyes, or have you been living under a rock? Or that's how you know they don't have an answer, by the way, is when they're just, I open your eyes. If you need to ask that question, you know what I mean? If you need to ask that question, then you're not paying attention. They never actually answer it. They just beat around the bush, dodge the question, and just, you don't even deserve to hear my answer. If you have to ask that, well, then you must not have an answer yourself if you can't actually just answer the freaking question. It's a legit question. How's Trump racist? I'm not saying that I support him. I'm not saying that I'm with the opposition. All I'm asking is, how's Trump racist? I'm willing to accept that he is. Just show me how he is, and then I'll join you in that. I'm fine. Like, if he is racist, that's, I know, not okay that he's racist, but I would agree with you. I just need to be shown more information before I join you in what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like the burden of proof. Show me the evidence before I do and believe said thing. It sounds kind of hypocritical of me being a Christian. Show me the evidence, because it's like, in Christianity you have to, just have enough faith. It seems like a game, It's, even I recognize that, or it's like, real life isn't a game, people. It's not like, have enough faith to believe, or it's, come on, this is real life. It does seem that way, like that's what the Bible's saying, like, just believe, have enough faith, instead of actually, I don't know, there's evidence out there, I'm sure. I just need to research more, but still, it just feels like a game sometimes. I don't know. That's just a little personal thing. But anyway, what the frick was I talking about? Oh yeah, when you ask questions, it just seems like people are against you, like they don't want you to ask said question. It's getting hot in here, let me open a window here. Alright. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Hopefully I didn't get off track and forget what I was saying. I probably did. Yeah, I totally did. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. Back to Christians just being more concerned with politics, especially on the internet. The internet is just a dumpster fire at this point, let's be honest. There's no age limit for trolls. Like, you see all these old people just yeah, dang, blah 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 blah, these punk kids nowadays, you need to do this, blah 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 blah. Like, there's just so much of that in the comment sections on those news pages, just it's such a dumpster fire. People they're fed up with everything and everyone. They're arguing, debating. It seems like they more than what they actually believe, they just want to offend people. You know what I mean? Like, they just want to get a rise out of people, it seems like. And it knows no age, it knows no race. We all feel that way, where we just want to get our opinion out there and want to offend people. It's kind of petty and cringeworthy, but that's how humans are, I guess. Just wanting to offend people, get a rise out of them. But anyway, back to what I was saying. It seems like some pastors even do that, where it feels unwelcoming. Let's just, for example, it feels unwelcoming to liberals when it's a church. It's neutral. It's not supposed to have a political leaning. It's just, we're the body of Christ. We're coming together. Maybe some political leanings, like have the freedom to worship, stuff like that, basic blah blah blah. But like, as far as being like, these, that's just wanting to make remarks to offend liberals, and then people cheer at it. It makes me just, I want a baby barf, you know? It's like, like a lot of pastors use the podium as a way to express their own political views or just their own beliefs, their own opinions, and they want to offend as many people as they can. And they want to, instead of just legit preaching from the Word of God, they just throw in these remarks about, they do preach the Word of God, but like at the same time they want to throw in a bunch of remarks, bias, and just mingle it in there, and just, it's like, dude, if I wanted to hear your political beliefs, I'll ask you later in person. Like, I'm here to hear the Word of God. I'm here to worship with fellow like-minded believers. I'm here to fellowship. I'm here to study the Word more. I'm here to serve the community. I'm not here to hear your political blah-blah-blah nonsense, I'm not here for a feeling of bias toward liberals. And holy crap, it's been half an hour already. Jeez Louise. I'm not coming here to hear your bull crap, I'm here for God. I'm here for the church. I'm not here for Fox News, but anyway, that being said, just that was basically my main rant, is just church being a place of unwelcomeness, or getting a drink there, where it's unwelcome to liberals, it's unwelcome to just newcomers in general, sometimes to skeptics, depends on the church, but and sometimes churches it feels like they're declaring war on another faith or belief or something, and they want to tell things bluntly, like they feel like they're hitting you over the face with reality, when really they're just being a bunch of jackass. It's just it just doesn't make any sense. Like they're just being offensive for the sake of being offensive. These things don't actually need to be said, despite what they think. I don't know. That's just my little rant of the day, I guess. Just churches being a place of unwelcomeness, being a place of, sometimes it'll feel like my way or the highway, or things will be told bluntly. There's no compromise. I don't know if compromise is the right word, but there's no, I'm talking broadly at this point. Like, I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, but you get the point. Hopefully. I'm not even sure if I do. But just church being a place of unwelcomeness. Being a place of, like, it feels like there's some level of hostility toward you and your beliefs, or toward other people and theirs. Or it feels like you're just, in general, just unwelcome at that church, like you're intruding. And that's not cool. That's not okay. Church, we need to be a place where people will feel comfortable coming, where people, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're just preaching to the leftist idea of not offending people. Oh, you're just blah blah blah, this whole narrative. It's like, dude, come on, really? Like, not everything is, just because I'm saying let's not go out of our way to offend the world doesn't mean that I'm with this liberal idea, quote unquote, of being a bunch of special snowflakes. And where did that stupid word come from? I don't even know. Special snowflake. What even is that word? I don't know. I don't understand. Just cringy at this point. Like, guys, not everything is an agenda. Not everything has to be political. Just because people get offended, they get offended, That's my thing. It's like, Jesus offended a lot of people, but he wasn't like, sorry, but I support the right to bear arms, and if you're against that, well, I'm sorry to tell you liberal snowflakes, blah, blah, blah. Jesus wasn't like that. He was telling the truth in regards to like God and the kingdom of heaven and how you should treat others and stuff like that. And yeah, a lot of people got offended, but those people, let's keep in mind, a lot of those people were like the religious crowd, like the Pharisees, or people, rich people who didn't want to give up their riches to pursue God, or they didn't want to hear what Jesus had to say because it stung and applied to them. It was stinky. They didn't like it. And while I do agree that we shouldn't cherry pick, we shouldn't try to put a bow around what Jesus has to say and what the Bible has to say, and oh, here you go, little kiddies. At the same time, we don't have to be offensive. Or like, I don't even, where was I going with that? I don't even know. Like, at the same time, there is room for discussion. At the same time, here's the thing. Like, yes, preach the truth of Jesus, but if you happen to offend people, so be it. Then they'll be offended, and you can explain to them gently and still be respectful to them about what you believe the truth is and all that stuff. Still be their friend. Don't be all sorry if you get offended. Sorry, not sorry. Baby, baby, baby. Just don't go out of your way to be offensive, okay? Don't be an internet troll personified. Just because someone's not going out of their way to be offensive, that doesn't mean they're catering to the liberal snowflakes of, oh, everything's soft now. No. Okay? Like, Jesus was a loving person. He respected other people. We are not... Like, he even told us not to judge. A lot of people are like, where does it say that in the Bible? I can point to a few verses. I'm just going to have to... Like, I've read it in the Bible. Just give me time to look up what the verse was so I can show you, like, the book. But I guarantee you, maybe I'll get back to you guys on that. But I have read in the Bible where it does say not to judge others. That's God's job. We're not the judge, jury, executioner. That is God. If any judging is to go around, it's to fellow believers about how they're misrepresenting Christ, about how they're not living purely. But even then, it's a gentle nudge, like, hey, man, like, I don't think what you're doing is really the right thing. Like, I'm still here for you, I'm still your friend, but I don't think you're really representing Christ the best way you can. That's really the only time you really have to judge, as far as I know. I don't know. I'm still reading the Bible. Don't quote me on that. There's a lot of studying yet to do on my part. But from what I have read, I'm pretty sure it did say, don't judge others. I know you want to feel like you're hitting people over the face with reality. I know a lot of you out there want to be as offensive as you can. But that's not the mission. The mission isn't to offend as many people as you can. The mission is to preach the truth. And if people get offended in the process, that's when it's, so be it. But even then, just try to explain yourself a little better. Show your point of view, if they're willing to listen, to make it a little less offensive, I guess. Like if maybe if they had a misconception about what it is you're saying, and they took it the wrong way, maybe if they're willing to listen to you explain it. But if they do fully understand, yet they're still offended by it, just the simple, truth or whatever, so be it. I mean, just pray for them, whatever. But yes, Jesus did offend a lot of people in the process, but that wasn't his goal. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't trying to be offensive, and especially he wasn't really taking much political stance aside from respect authority and render to Caesar that what is Caesar's, blah blah blah, turn the other cheek. He didn't really have that much of a political stand on stuff, as far as I know. Again, I might have to reread things. Don't quote me on that. I'm not an expert. I'm not a biblical scholar. I'm just saying what I've read and perceived so far. Jesus didn't preach about, oh, you're trying to take your guns away, or oh, you should stand for the flag, or granted that he didn't live in modern day America, but like, he wasn't preaching that stuff. He was preaching purely about God and morality and how we should live our lives and stuff like that. He wasn't trying to offend people on a political basis or just offending people in general. He wasn't throwing insults around or your mama jokes, even though those are fun. But he was preaching the truth about spirituality and well, I don't even have the words to say, but you get the idea. We shouldn't try to be unwelcoming. We should do the opposite. We should try to be welcoming. We should try to we need to make church a place where people can call home, even though they're just now entering the doors. Church needs to be a place of welcome. Okay, I'm tired of seeing this. Of people just not. Either they're indifferent that you came, or it almost seems like they don't want you to have come. Like, no, this is a club. It's exclusive. You're not a member. Screw that whole thing. By the way, just all those churches out there. Oh, you're not a member, so you can't participate. Screw that. Screw that baloney. I mean, if that's your belief, that's your belief. Me personally, I say we should be welcoming. Like, everyone can participate in the thing. You get the point. We need to be a place of welcoming. We need to serve the community around us instead of just talking about serving the community and then just going our merry way. And instead of just having a similar sermon to what I'm talking about, like instead of just talking about it, we need to do it, and then you just continue with the motions anyway. No, preach and reach. You get the point. But don't only talk the talk, but walk the walk. Don't just judge your fellow believers like I'm doing right now, but let's actually get together and actually literally go serve the community around us. That was my phone. Ignore that. That notifications from Star Wars Commander. It's a mobile game. Just okay. Look, the thing is just don't preach empty sermons. Just don't talk the talk, but walk the walk. That's another thing. Anyway, I'm one to talk. Like, I don't even know what to do, how to serve the community around me, and I'd be alone if I did, because no one's doing it with me. You know what I mean? Like, I would be helping others if I had a team, if I had people to go with, people to do things with, but I don't. But I'm here if the church is, gonna do something. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. But look, my original point is just church needs to be a place of welcome. Christians need to be more welcome. And church needs to be a place of welcome. People need to be more welcoming. People need to respect other people for their beliefs. So many Christians are just against liberals. It's really obnoxious. I'm not a liberal myself, but I'm just saying, holy moly, people. Let's tone it down a notch, shall we? Anyway, that's the episode. Was there something else I had to talk about other than ranting about how church isn't as welcoming? I really don't know. Anyway, so this is just the first episode of this podcast. I'm sure there's going to be more. Might be more topics. There's a whole list of things I want to get into. I've made videos on some things, but I just want to be real and just talk. No edit, just cut to the chase. Maybe an hour long of just blah, 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 where you sit and relax and listen to me spout a bunch of words. This is kind of like you coming to church, and this is my sermon, I guess. But this is my channel and podcast. I mean, it's not like what a church should be. But you get the point. Anyway, I'm hoping that this podcast grows. I'm hoping maybe to get a co-host or two on someday. I don't know how or when, or what am I going to invite them into my place, physically sit right here next to me at my computer? How is that going to work out? Maybe over Skype or Discord? I don't know what we're going to do. I don't even know who is going to join me. Everyone's busy. As am I, kind of. But I just want this to be a legit podcast someday. I don't want to just be talking to myself here the whole time. So, I don't know. If you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up, blah, blah, blah. I never really cared much for YouTubers who say that. Just, you get the point. You see the buttons. You know what to do. If you like this video, you can like it. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. It's up to you. The buttons are there. You know where things are. You have a brain. You can figure it out. If you don't want to, you don't want to. If you do, you do. That's it. That's all there is to you. So, I guess I will see you, or you will hear me in the next podcast. Thank you for listening. And thank you for allowing me to caress your eardrums with my gentle pleasure. Yeah, that sounds creepy. I'll stop. Like I said, though, in the future, I'm hoping to broaden the topics. This is pretty much going to be the only episode, as far as I can tell for the time being right now, about church and stuff like that. I don't want to shove things down your guys' throats. This isn't meant to be a Christian channel. This is meant to just be a channel of discussion and philosophy and stuff. I'm going to get more into crazy things like theories and philosophical stuff. What's the meaning of life? We're going to dive into some heavy crap. Just, whoa. Stuff. Exciting things. Just stuff like asking questions, theorizing, all kinds of goodies. Heck, maybe even some other things related to geekiness. Just whatever, man. It's just discussion podcast where we talk about whatever. If you have any topics you want me to discuss, feel free to comment them below. I know probably no one's going to comment, but if you want to prove me wrong on that, feel free to. And yeah, thank you again for listening to the one or two people that might have heard half of this. I don't know. I don't want to discredit you. If you've stuck this long, you are a champion. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Again, okay, let's just say goodbye already. Goodbye, and I'll see you next time. Or you'll hear me next time. Whatever. You get the point.